I'm contestant 3042, and today I will be fabricating a whole chicken. What I will end up with is 2 boneless chicken breasts, 2 wings, 2 thighs, and 2 drumsticks, as well as the neck and giblets if included. I'm going to start off by removing the insides, the heart. I just removed the organs, and I'm going to start with the drums and thighs. I'm going to start by cutting down the sides through the skin and going down as far as I can. I'm going to flip the bird around and cut down this side, making sure not to nick the breast. I'm going to flip the bird and dislocate the joints. After that, I'm going to turn it around and remove the thighs. Now that I have it separated, I could locate the joint and cut through it. So that is one thigh. I just finished cutting the other side, and to make sure I don't miss the oyster, I cut on the back to grab it. I'm going to be carving through this section. And there's my second thigh. Next, I will be taking off the wings, carving around it, making sure not to get the breast. Then I want to pop that out. The wing. The same thing for the other side. Okay, so I just finished cutting off the wings, and now I'm gonna move on to the back and the breast. So what I want to do is I want to look for this fat line here and cut straight down through the rib cage. Once I get one, get the other side. I want to make sure it's not moving around, so I'm going to flip it over and look from this side and cut down. Then I want to break it. After that, I just slice through some of the joints and bones, and it should be separated. This is the back. I'm going to take my fingers and run them along the... Just finished taking off the back and separating it from the breast and the chest piece. I'm going to be running my fingers along the back of the chest piece to expose the breast and separate it from the bone. After I separate it, I'm going to want to cut through and carve the breast. After I'm done with that, I want to go back and make sure there's no joints or knuckles in there. So rip all that out, rip out the connective tissue, and make sure the chicken breast is clean, and then spread that skin out and make sure it looks nice. So here I have my thigh and my drumstick, and I'm going to be separating it. So what I want to look for is this fat line right here, and that is where the joint should be. You could feel it in there. So I'm just going to go against that fat line and try to expose the joint. I also want to carve the thigh and the drum. I'm gonna stop that. Now that everything is sanitized and clean, I'm going to pour in my oil so that it gets hot while I season my chicken. So I'm going to be seasoning my chicken with some black pepper and Now that this side is seasoned, I'm going to turn it over and season the back. Since I used my right hand, I'm going to use my left now to season. And if I can, and if I want to, I'm going to make sure that salt gets nice and in there everywhere, distributed. Some black pepper. Make sure you get under the tender. And now these breasts are ready to go in. The oil is smoking, so it's ready. I'm gonna make sure that I get that skin down right there so that the oil doesn't splash on me. My chicken is now done and it has reached a proper temperature of 165. My chicken is properly reached temperature. I have some lemon, some roasted garlic, and lazy pepper as my garnishes. I'm gonna cut through the chicken to test for doneness. And as you can see, it's fully cooked through. Now I'm gonna cut it at an angle. And then I'm gonna plate it. Here is my completed dish. Now is the knife cut portion, and I will be demonstrating knife safety while I'm cutting carrots into a medium dice, large dice, bayonet or baton, julienne, and brunoise. First thing I'm gonna want to do is cut the carrot in half. Cut the tips off and the root. Make sure that nothing's in my way while I do this. Then I'm gonna want to cut the edges so that's squared off. Making sure I keep a claw grip while I cut. The first cut I'm gonna do is a baton. I cut it in half and then in half again. And here's my baton. Now I'm gonna go to a medium dice from baton. And these are my medium dices. Now that I have finished my baton and my medium dice, I'm gonna move on to my julienne and brunoise. Get rid of my scraps so that my board is cleared. For this cut, I'm gonna want it as thin as possible, so I'm just gonna keep on cutting it into half until I have the opportunity to either cut it into fourths or thirds. Now that I have my julienne, I'm going to turn it into my brunoise. And here's my brunoise. You want to make sure the cuts are as uniform as possible so they could cook evenly.